More to Marketing. Welcome to More to Marketing, a podcast on marketing, product, and everything in between. I'm your host, Susan, and I'm very excited today to talk to someone in regards to taking your content and bringing it to life in a market and just really making it more exciting than what it is today, and how you can actually do different things with it in smarter ways. Now, I've had an expert come along here to tell us all about this, and I'd love to introduce you to Rachael. Rachael has an immense passion for performance marketing and runs a hugely successful marketing agency. Having worked with established brands such as HiSmile, Netflix, Samsung, and Kohl's, Rachael has also trained million-dollar agency teams too. Her clients have had opportunities to work with some of the most amazing major celebrities that you all will know of: Chris Hemsworth, Mark Wahlberg, co-founder of Google, and the co-founder of Red Bull too, just to name a few of them. Throughout her years, she's had some amazing hands-on experience. Rachael has learned a thing or 20 on the most important pieces that you need when creating content for marketing and brand strategy. And most importantly, that content never sleeps. So welcome, Rachael.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here, but tell us a bit more about yourself and your journey.
Yeah, so originally I had, taught martial arts as a job, and then moved into working with HiSmile. So worked on their customer experience team to start with, and then social experience, and got a good understanding of how that business operates, which fundamentally those guys are a marketing machine, but it comes down to content. And so that was something that I learned really early on, was a lot of these brands that are successful put a priority on content. And then from going on from HiSmile, I started my own agency. Really, it was sort of a small consulting gig. And then, built that out. Now we've got a team, just moved into our second office. And it's been really good working with clients in, design and construction and lifestyle businesses as well.
And I completely agree with you that there's some companies out there that just don't even think about content and don't even go down that path at all to even know where to begin, a lot of them. So maybe they start with some basics. What is content and how is it different when applied in other channels?
Yeah, so you want to think about content as, it comes in different forms, right? So you could have written content, video content, imagery and statics. You might even have long form content. So it's really a medium in which we're communicating something, whether it's written, verbal. This podcast, for example, some people, your listeners would be listening to this. This is an audio form of content. And so you really want to be thinking about, like, wherever you're distributing that, it has a different purpose. You've got content specifically for paid advertising that's a bit more direct to consumer. You've got organic content, campaign specific. And so you've got this medium, and then you want to think about that medium and how you're communicating a message will change depending on the channel in which you're pushing that through.
And I've seen that a lot of people, businesses, don't necessarily know to do it differently. They keep thinking that the same wording that's on a billboard can be the same wording in a TV ad to the same wording that you see on a display ad or on a social creative piece as well. How do you go about educating these new clients about the importance of selecting the right voice and the right messaging for all those different types of content?
So whenever we're speaking to clients, we kind of build it back to the basics, right? And that's something you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about marketing. Is just come back to the basics and go, what am I trying to achieve here? And so if we're trying to achieve a brand positioning and we're trying to build awareness organically, then the type of content we need to show insight. And in marketing, you've got the old school build, know, like, and trust. And so if you're building know, like, and trust, you want to show insight into the business. And so you might then build that out into behind the scenes content. If you're packing product in the warehouse, you might want to showcase that process, maybe even gifting a customer an extra product and creating a TikTok out of that. And so you're building this know, like, and trust and giving insight into the business. Whereas if your agenda is to improve conversions through paid advertising, maybe we need to look at what kind of content is sitting on the website. Is the imagery strong enough? Is your copy strong enough? And so how are we then helping to improve the conversion rate? So building it back, build know, like, and trust, understand what your purpose is, and then from there we can work out what kind of content you need to focus on.
Yeah, I feel that there's a lot of businesses that try to do this by themselves, and their assumption is, I'll see what my competitor is doing and copy. Have you seen a lot of that as well in all your years of experience of that? We're just going to copy and not think of being original.
Absolutely, far too often. And you can sniff it. You can smell it from a mile away, and it doesn't feel authentic. And if you're always in the shadow of another brand, you're always trying to copy what they're doing, it's not going to work out for you long term, because they're leading the way and they're always a step in front of you. And so it's really important to go, okay, what are we good at? What's our unique selling point? What do customers want from us? Because that's how you reel people in. You've got something different that people can experience or gain or learn from you.
Or even just the brand itself being associated with it can be that point of difference as well.
Absolutely.
So when we're thinking about the content, how should brands actually prioritize content, and what are some of the benefits of doing that?
So you want to think about content like the fuel, right? If you try to think up any marketing campaign, whether it's organic social media, paid advertising, a media campaign on Forbes, whatever you're doing, if you try to achieve that without content, without copy, without imagery, video, you can't. And so content is the fuel that you need to drive marketing. And so the businesses, we have two key sayings in the team. One is content never sleeps, and the other is the brand that produces the most content wins. And so what you want to be thinking about is constantly being in front of customers, testing, always be testing ABT. And so you want to be thinking about content in this way. And so if you're looking at why content is important, it's the fuel. It allows you to test, remain in front of people, remain relatable as well. And there's so much noise right now. And so if you look at any brand, look at Yeti, for example, or HiSmile, you want to be thinking about why they so in front of people all the time. It's because they're producing content of different types as well.
And all those different channels too, for the different types of people they're trying to target.
Absolutely.
Because I'd make a big statement here that social media has been so new over the last 10 years and evolved so much that a lot of traditional marketers still probably haven't even caught up with how they could use those different channels with different content to make a stronger proposition to bring in the right people that want to know about you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know you've done a lot of work with influencers, some major celebrities as well, which I'm very jealous about because I think they've got some amazing brands behind them in the products that they've built and the services they've built as well. Can't wait till Wahlberg's Burgers comes to Australia, to be honest. But influencers are rampant at the moment. There's your micro, your nano, your bigger ones, your Kim Kardashians as well. But is this just a fad? What's your experience been here about what you think the future might hold for brands and their connection with influencers?
Absolutely. So my background working with influencers is I have created, done influencer campaigns for, a number of different brands. And, we've got clients who organically, these celebrities will come about because they've put the content out there. They've created a brand that these influencers or celebrities see and they want to be part of. So that's also another reason why content's so important. When it comes to influencers, people of influence, which is where influencers term came from, have been around forever. And so you want to be thinking about the type of influencers that are going to remain and the type of influencers that will drop off. And so, you've got people with 10 million followers, you've got people with 5,000 followers. They're all considered influencers. But the type of content that they're producing, that's what we need to look at, is what's going to stay and what's going to go. And so this era of people just posting content that feels ingenuine, it's the same script. Hey guys, you've all been asking, what's this? What's my secret weapon to having great skin? You've all asked this. That type of content isn't going to be as genuine as storytelling, vlog style, bringing back sort of that old school product placement that's not direct to consumer, necessarily directly selling. And so I think we need to be thinking about this kind of content. And that's where I think influencers will always remain, but it's more so the kind of content that they're producing.
It goes back down to that quality over quantity, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's about making sure that it's genuine, it's relatable, people actually can get to it as well. Because a lot of the time, some of these products may be $10, $20, $100,000. That's not relatable. It's great, maybe content to watch, but that's very short term. Whereas you see and believe, build that trust, that's where it turns more from a fad to a future, because you're partly loyal. You've decided, I'm actually got an affiliation with this brand, with what they're selling, with what they're sharing, and I can connect. And I suppose this also brings on the aspect of community. An influencer builds a community for that brand as well. Have you had any dealings with building influencer communities out that have been really exciting that you could give any examples of?
I would say when it comes to like building community, not necessarily for the influencer themselves, but more so when it comes to building out that community with a brand and how having multiple faces as part of that brand builds community. When it comes to influential people, yes, they have their community. They've got people who enjoy watching content with them, following along in terms of what they're doing, and those people become really loyal. And so when they suggest a certain product and those people really appreciate their opinion, that's something they focus on. I think we're also going to see a big shift of companies actually investing in their teams, becoming personalities or influential people as part of the brand. And so you can see that Amazon have just invested in a major majority of their staff actually being trained on how to produce content. And so you want to be thinking about, okay, if there's this shift, these influential communities and these brands are actually going to now invest in people, part of their team being influencers. And you can see this shift happen over time with the trend on TikTok, which, the intern took over the TikTok, the intern took over Instagram. And so you're going to see these personalities, whether it's the founder or the marketing team or the finance team, people in the warehouse, these people are actually going to be creating content in-house. And we're going to see more of a movement towards in-house personalities as well. So I think, these influencer communities are important, but we're also going to see the brands now focusing on personalities within the team as well.
And again, that's how they differentiate themselves, isn't it? They can have that different point of difference compared to their competitors, where you might want to, Sally reminds you of your mum, so you want to follow Sally's journey as she's working behind the scenes in this company, and you're learning different things as well. So there's probably a lot of human touch points in there where it really becomes relatable as well.
Absolutely.
Now, what should brands focus on, though, when they've got their content?
So if you're, again, coming back to simple terms, especially if you're a brand that aren't sure where that next step is, or you're looking at investing in content, what you need to look at is, how do you achieve this at the most simple form? So you could ask the team if they've got content on their camera roll from around, things that happen, team events, things that happen in their workday. You also probably want to have the team on board. So briefing everyone, saying, hey, we want to do this, and having a couple of key people who are on board with that. If you've got a team that's an older demographic, sometimes you can have a bit of a challenge there, whereas the younger team members are probably more likely to want to do that. Now, if you're creating videos, you don't want them to feel really forced. either. So it's really important to have conversations, selfie style videos, talking to the camera. And so you want it to feel genuine, like someone's actually talking to you as a friend. We like to brief our clients and say, talk to the camera as if you're on FaceTime.
Yep.
And so if you're a business and you're looking to produce this kind of content, phone content is absolutely fine. And it's just trying to document the ins and outs and the day-to-day of the business and exciting things that are happening as well. Start there, and then you can build and get a videographer on board, have video editing, have different types of videos edited. But at a really, really basic level, just get the team on board and start filming. Just start.
And as long as they're not hearing live straight away, you've got time to actually check and proof before you hit go out live. Exactly. So you protect yourself as well there.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's a place for live.
Yes.
But probably not when you're first starting out.
No, having pre-planned content that you can, you've got a bit of a plan there, and that way you can control the conversations too.
Exactly. And I think another piece that's probably very important is monitoring the social engagement as well. So when you do post that, you don't just leave it as dead air, because a lot of times on some of these channels, people may comment or ask questions or whatever it might be, or want to know a little bit more. How important is it for them to keep on that as well? And how long do you think they should watch a post in some of the traditional types of areas that we send our content to?
Yeah, so and part of what we're doing as well is with our organic social media packages, we will manage all of that for the clients. And so how we look at it is we look at everything daily, and we do it in the AM and the PM. So it's constantly monitored. And so if a post goes up, we make sure that we're responding to those comments, that, we're responding to the DM story replies. You want to be checking your comments and the last few posts, over a couple of days. And then even, a week or two on, just double check and make sure you've not left any comments unread. The reason for that is if you're not responding to customers, and if you don't have time, have someone do that for you, because it showcases that the brand is active and that you care about customers and that you're onto it. Subconsciously, that communicates to a customer that you care.
Yep. And you're also authentic too. So what you've posted up there isn't just a one-off. That's what you think that moment. You're following through with probably a social contract you've done by having your socials out there, that you will actually be able to contact both ways.
Yeah, definitely. And again, that is content as well. Everything is content. Content never sleeps. There is always something, right? Someone comments on a reel on your Instagram, you can reply to that comment as a reel. And so you've produced content, you've already got your idea. Someone responds to a story, you can then repost that answer in a question box and repurpose that as content. And so you want to be onto these things and going, how can we get the most for the least?
Exactly. Drag it out for as long as you can where it makes sense and is relevant.
Exactly.
Now, I'm sure because you've been watching and learning all these years, seeing what's out there in socials, what competitors are doing, what other brands are doing, just as part of your natural learning working with clients. But what mistakes do you see with content? Are you able to share some and be able to talk to some examples?
Absolutely. So the biggest mistake when it comes to content is producing something that doesn't feel authentic. And if it feels really forced and quite sort of like pre-planned, and I think that's a really big mistake that a lot of businesses also do, is they put strange filters on it, weird text. You just want to look at what are people out there doing. If you're not sure what to do with content, go on TikTok, go on Instagram Reels, and just get a gauge of how people are producing it. I think that's a really big thing. Things that are overstaged. I think there's a difference, right? So we've got content, I believe that we're going to see more high-end, high production content coming out. But then we're also going to see more authentic and vlog style. And so these common mistakes are like the way that it's produced, making it feel inauthentic and a little bit forced. The formats as well. So making sure if you're producing content for ads, make sure that you've got a 9:16, 4:4, a 4:5, and a 1:1 ratio, so that you have the right placement. So whenever you're running Facebook ads, for example, you want to make sure that you've got your story placement, your reel placement, but also your feed placement sizes of that same piece of content. And so you want to make sure that you've got the right ratios as well. They're quite different ends of the spectrum in terms of errors, but these are some of the common ones that I've been seeing lately.
One of the ones that comes to my mind is when they're so forced, they almost remind you of some of those old school HR forced videos you'd have to watch, and you just
Exactly.
cringe.
Yeah, yeah. Lack of value, I think, is a really big one too. And that's what you're saying. It just feels forced. In marketing, we always want to think about give, ask, give, ask. And so you want to be giving that value. If you're creating a video and it's quite shallow and surface level, and there's not a lot of actual value, you'll lose people pretty quickly.
One of my favorites out in socials is watching a particular French pastry chef who makes different things out of chocolate. And he just gives all the time. So he gives all these videos of I'll make a full-size dinosaur out of chocolate. I will make this tiny little music box that opens and can actually move around with chocolate. And you watch and watch and watch all these videos because I sometimes get suckered in. But there's not much ask. So when there is an ask, you don't feel like they're bombarding you or they're right in your face or it's a bit very personal, a bit, how much details do they know about me? It's very subtly done. And I think that needs to be part of where we go with content as well. That's not thrown in your face. You've not got someone yelling at you, but that it's so natural that you feel like, oh, yes, I will click on that and learn more.
Absolutely. Bite-sized pieces. Give them a taste of what they could get from you. That chef that you're talking about, yum, by the
I
way.
know. I would love to just be the leftovers person. You cut that off and you're not using it I'll just munch that.
Yeah, I'll take that off your hands, no worries. They may do a course, right? And they'll teach you how to do that. And so you're going, oh gosh, I would love to do something like that. And they might post a story and say, hey, if you guys would actually like to learn from me, I'm going to put a course together. Let me know what information you'd like to see. And so they may actually produce a course based on the information that people are asking for. And so you really want to listen to your customers and create content around that too.
And that's actually exactly what's happened to me very recently. There's a very small local baker who she's very little in the influencer space. So she's localized, does baby smash cakes or other little cakes as well. Vegan friendly, all those things that you might be looking for when you're thinking children's things as well, for no eggs and all those pieces. And she's expanded out to adult cakes for birthdays and anniversaries, etc. So I follow her. So I follow her Insta, and I see her making all these beautiful creations for other people where it might be a little video or it might just be an image. And I just love seeing it. But then every so often she'll put up, would you like to learn how to do this type of icing? Come to my course. And again, it's just that little bite size where you might be interested, you might not. And I have to say, I actually did do the course and I learned how to do it as well.
There you go. Perfect. Awesome strategy. Worked for her.
It definitely did. And again, it comes back to that relevance you were talking about, doing give, then ask, but also making sure her content made sense as well by doing differences between reels and images in this case.
Absolutely. Definitely.
But what excites you most about this space? Why do you love brand content marketing so much?
I think like looking at content, like I said, as the fuel when it comes to marketing is, we focus at Marked Agency on organic marketing and paid advertising. And so we look at marketing as an ecosystem. And so that ecosystem allows brands to create this really nice presence in the market space where they use the organic side to really talk to the customers, create that community, and actually inspire and motivate people and improve their lives. And then on the other side is that direct to consumer where we can actually increase conversions. And so what I'm most passionate about when it comes to the content marketing is the fact that you can have a lot of fun with it, and how I have firsthand seen like our clients and just brands in general be able to grow through creating content and being able to test it. And, me personally, I was never someone to be in front of the camera. Now we produce content, and being in front of the camera and talking about value, it becomes fun. And you get involved in it, and the team love that as well. And so I think that brands have the opportunity to really speak directly to customers and actually make an impact when they are giving that value, when they're giving that insight. It's not just about talking about your product. It could be talking about your industry. It could be talking about like what problems you solve, certain materials, lifestyle changes, and then your product could just be one of those things to support that. And so it's about creating that community and that education and that value. So for me, the passion comes from being able to see the change it makes for a business.
I love that. And that's part of why I believe you went into your agency as well, because you love what you've learned and now you can share it with others and help them build and be successful.
Absolutely. I see too many businesses, they often struggle to know what the next best step is. And it's for someone like myself and the team, and even yourself, you would understand this is you see what that next step is because that's your expertise. Whereas if that's not your expertise and you're focusing on product development and building an incredible business, often you can leverage someone else's knowledge and know-how to get to that next best step. And so, I suppose that's why we exist, is really to help business owners to take that part off their plate.
100%. And the amount of knowledge you and your team would have as well, it'd be so much more than that person could ever read in a couple of books too, because you've actually got the hands-on experience and done the A/B changes, the optimization, everything to actually see what does work and what doesn't.
Yeah, the day to day, like we see trends every day, we test things every day. And so we can go, okay, that worked for that client and that worked for that client. Okay, maybe, and that's a learning we can use for another client too. So you've got that, I suppose, that insight. And it's, it is like you look at how much it would cost to hire an employee. There is no way in marketing that you could hire someone that could do paid advertising, content creation, video editing, graphic design, social media, SEO, all in one person.
Exactly.
And so if you look at how much that would cost to get that whole team, and then how much it costs just to have, someone manage that, an agency, for instance, it becomes a lot more cost effective. And so coming back to the content side of things, that's a really good starting point, is if you're doing that in-house, just start really simple and then build from there.
Exactly. Get it right to start with and then build upon it and grow it.
Absolutely.
I have my final question I ask everybody. Everyone gets asked this question, and you can have multiples as well. It doesn't have to be one, but what brand, any brand in the world, best represents you and why?
I would say there's probably two of them. I love the brand Gosney, that make pizza ovens. I think that their content strategy is epic. And Loco Love. Loco Love's an incredible brand. Those guys have had amazing success, especially, and if you look at, I believe those guys started in 2013, 2015.
It's not
If
long
you
ago,
look at how long it's taken them to get to this point, people look at them and go, gosh, they're a major success. They're in all health food stores. They sell out. People talk about them, like they're gold. But it's taken them 10 years to get to that point. And so how they've been able to do that is content.
Yep, going back to their passion and showing and sharing it, and then building everyone's love into it as well to make it bigger. I love that. I love those two brands. I'm just going to do a quick roundup. So do add more once I finish, but thank you so much. I love talking content and influencers. I learn so much more when I get to have this opportunity. And for me, the biggest thing here is about content definitely never sleeps. You've got all different forms, like your written, your video, your images, long form, etc. But it's really about communication, making sure that all those different types of forms you create of your content have different purposes depending on what you're doing and who you're talking to. So you've got to make sure you sit back and plan out your strategy for content, so you're doing the right thing at the right time and it makes sense. This can be things like thinking about direct to consumer, or is it going to be organic, and then how you're going to pivot all your pieces to make sure it's authentic along the way too, so it doesn't feel forced. But go back to the basics of marketing. Pretty much, why are you doing it? What are you trying to communicate? And do that whole build, know, like, and trust. How can you build that out and make that part of your strategy? Now, influencers themselves, you're wanting to look for quality over quantity because you want to make sure that they're going to be around for the long run. So if you do partner up or invest, or you've got someone that loves you and is an influencer, they make sense as well. So that if they're creating content for you naturally, which is amazing if they do, or if you're paying for it, that it does come across authentic and then they're not just going for a paycheck to be able to make some more money there. But one of the best sources of influencers you could do, something like what Amazon is just starting to do, is see if your employees want to get on board and be part of the strategy. Maybe they can do some video reels around the office, people's parties, behind the scenes packing boxes. Some of those behind the scenes content can be very magical when it comes to creating content for socials. And it can be short form there as well, which is nice, short, sharp, and sweet. But always remember to give, 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 and don't ask for too much, because it is a content for people to enjoy, not necessarily a forced selling channel. And always make sure you've got someone around to respond. You don't want to leave it as dead air out there that you're not going to be talking back if you put some magical content out there. You want to continue the conversation, and then that adds more content along the way too. You may even get some ideas out of it for future content. But my 3 final things I'd like to leave off on are: content is fuel. It is what runs your marketing strategy when it comes to it. You have to have that content as the fuel. Content never sleeps. Make sure that you're always watching what's going on out there and that you're being relevant. And products that post the most relevant content at the right time, right place, all those things, wins. And by doing that, you can do lots of test and learns as well, so you can make the adjustments you need for your market. How did I go, Rachel?
I don't think I could have summarized it any better. You nailed it.
Fantastic. Is there any final thing that you'd like to leave off on as well, and tell us a bit about your business as well so people can find you?
Yeah, so I think the last thing as well is like you don't need to overcomplicate it. As a business, it might feel like, oh gosh, now I have to go out and get the team on board and all of this. Like at the end of the day, just ask yourself, who are we talking to? What are we trying to achieve? And how, like, what is the best next step? And so if that is something that you need support with, that is, that's why Marked Agency exists. So it's mrkdagency.com. mrkd agency is our handle on all social channels. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'd love to say to your listeners, we're happy to do an audit on the house, take a look under the hood, and just see some areas of the marketing that you can be growing. So if that's something that sounds like of interest, that offer is there. But yeah, at the end of the day, just don't overcomplicate it. Just start simple and you can build from there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. For everyone, I will make sure that links to Rachel's business Marked Agency and also to herself on Instagram are included in the show notes. So make sure you read those and click on all those to hear more. Thank you again so much, Rachel. I really enjoyed this. I love learning more in this space, as you know, because we had a pre-chat before. But for everyone else, don't forget to add More to Marketing to your playlist so you don't forget and miss out on any future guests. More to Marketing.